Now, he couldn't make it tonight because he's over in London, but I've got an email I received from Paul earlier today asking me to read out, so I'll read it out. My father, an academic himself, said that my most enduring friendships would be formed at university. It's unexpected. I unexpectedly found one in an academic. I first met Andrew Rogers in an FX simulations. He told me to calm down and focus. This and much of the other counsel that I still hold firm today, and has helped me to get to where I am. Dreary old London, working for a bailed out bank that is pillared daily in the press, in an office with dodgy art on the wall and no view. God, thank you very much, Andrew. But in all seriousness, my working life has been better and more successful than I've ever imagined it would have been because of your wise teaching. And my life is richer and for your warm friendship. With love and sincere congratulations, well done on reaching a magnificent 25 years, Paul Booth. And now, before he starts to well up in tears, I'd like to invite Andrew Rogers to come and give us a few words.
Hugh Grant, 4 weddings and a funeral. I just know exactly how he felt. I am about to... I don't think I need that. I'm about to have my current students accuse me of double standards. All semester I've been at them to say, you will speak your presentations without notes and you will finish on time. Well, I'm sorry, but this is one that I cannot do without notes. Before I start, I really do believe in acknowledgement, and I'm hearing everything that's been said. But there is somebody I want to acknowledge first and foremost for this evening. When it became known that I'd started teaching 25 years ago, Ben wandered off to the Finance Investment Student Society and said we should do something, and then they went to the alumni office and said we should do something, and then they came and told me that they were going to do something, and I had no choice about it. Since that time, Ben has done amazing things. He has tracked down, looking around this room, he has tracked down people that even I'd lost touch with. People I didn't know where they'd gone, how many children they had or who they'd married. And he found them. I think Ben's an extraordinary person. He put this together with the support of his committee pretty much on his own in lots of ways. He's put up with me for the last 6 weeks saying, oh, but Ben, if you give a party and nobody comes, what happens? Oh, but Ben, I can't write the speech. I rang him at 10 o'clock last night and said, I don't know what to say. So, Chelsea Mayor, Ben, from me to you, with thanks. Thank you. I appreciate it. One of my colleagues suggests quite often that I can speak in a manner akin to a Baptist preacher. And he and I together did a presentation to a panel of external academics, senior academics, to try and get some change that we wanted to see happen approved by externals. And when we came out of that, he said, you were so good, you were measured and you were mannered. Well, Theo, not tonight. I am not going to be measured and mannered, and I'm already welling up in tears, and if I stand here too much longer, but it's not very long. Anyway, Richard mentioned that I was skinny and young. The young, I'm still the young. I feel relatively young. All my colleagues get older ahead of me, which is really nice. But when I look right there and I see a man who is now my bank manager, but who in 1986, in March 1986, sat in the first year microeconomics tutorial with me, I realised how much time has passed. When I walked into a classroom in 1984, I was given a box of chalk, a duster and a blackboard and told, go teach. If it wasn't for Richard, who showed me by example how to teach, I'm not sure I would have lasted beyond that first initial contract. He really was the master, and I really was the apprentice, and there were many of us who were the apprentices to Richard, and we learned a lot from him. Not only how to have good teaching, but also how to have a relationship with students, how to have a warm, friendly, supportive relationship with students. And it was from Richard that I learned those things. We started with Chalk and Talk in 1984. This semester we've had plasma and presentations. We've got teaching spaces equipped with the latest plasma screens, and the students get up every week and they present, and I sit there and I really do nothing. I prod with a few questions here and there. I ask a little bit, and they do the work, and that's, for me, the most extraordinary thing. That is, for me, the thing that makes teaching important. When people discover, when you people, when the light bulbs go on, I see it, we see it. It's interesting, you know, when I first walked into that first classroom, the air was thick with chalk dust and cigarette smoke. It smelled of chips and Chico rolls, and there was coffee and Coke on the tables. You were allowed to eat, drink, smoke and sleep in the classroom. Students these days are only allowed to do one of those. They cannot eat, they cannot drink, they cannot smoke, but they still, from time to time, sleep. One of the things I've realised about teaching at VU, and looking around this room, there is so much evidence for me on this, is that there is a kind of convenient wisdom that a lot of students have, a lot of you people have when you come to us. When you walk into my classroom, there is this, I don't know, Galbraith called it a sort of convenient wisdom that was comfortable, it was comforting, and it really didn't challenge you. And the wisdom that you had is that we're students at VU, we're never going to compete. I hear it every semester. We can't compete against RMIT, we can't compete against Melbourne, we can't compete against La Trobe, we can't compete with yada, 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 yada. And every semester I say, do that. Every semester I believe that in fact it's the inconvenient truth that we need to understand, and that is that every student that comes into my classroom is as good as anybody from anywhere else, that has the potential to be as good as anybody else at any other university. And every semester we prove it. Every graduation we prove it. When I see people that I've taught who are now holding positions all around the world in the industries that they want to be in the industries that we have helped to inspire them to be excited about, when I know that Paul Booth is in London, and yes, poor Paul walking in the London rain, and poor Paul with his office that's got no view, and poor Paul working for a bank with his bailout, and poor Paul with his banker's bonus that he didn't mention. There is an inconvenient truth. I love him. He's a great friend of mine, and he will that will get back to him, I know, and he will take that as it's meant. The inconvenient truth that you are as good is something that takes some of you a little time to understand. But you are as good. And my joy, my passion, my excitement about doing what I do comes from that, comes from you, comes from, as I realised the other day when I was saying to some students in class at the end of this semester, I knew you had it in you. Thing is, I reckon I know you've got it in you.